Well, a warm welcome to this talk. Now, recently Joe Rogan was talking to Mr. Donald Trump, and this topic came up.
First of all, I love this idea of you teaming up with Robert Kennedy.
Right.
And I love this Make America Healthy Again idea.
Now, if you look online about this interview, you'll see lots of fact checkers. So I thought we might do a little bit of a fact check of our own. Is it possible to make America healthy again? Yes, it is. Emphatically so. And the United Kingdom and Canada and Australia. This is all quite conceivable if the political will is there to do it. Now, the problem at the moment is that everyone's kind of going their own sweet way on this. Big agriculture using kind of chemicals, and big foods doing clever food processing and making industrial food rather than natural food. And these people are just doing their own thing because they need to be regulated. So if there is regulation to take things like pesticides out of food or reduce them dramatically, or reduce the number of pesticides that are allowed. And in this respect, the United States is way worse than the United Kingdom. Now, we get enough contaminants in our food in the United Kingdom, but in the United States, it's actually quite a bit worse. In fact, this is brought up in a minute. But is this idea possible? Is it possible to transform the health of hundreds of millions of people? Let me think. Yes, absolutely it is. And I'm saying that based on discussions that we've had on this channel with world-leading experts, leading professors of medicine and consultants and all sorts of people we've talked to, and from common sense. How can it be healthy to be eating 60 or 70% of your food from ultra-processed food? Not only all that rubbish you're eating, but all the good stuff you're leaving out. Where's the vitamin D? Where's the zinc? Where's the magnesium? Where's the vitamin C? Where's the vitamin B? Where's the vitamin B1? Where's the B12? All these other, where's the fibre? All the other vital components are being left out because of these industrial foods. Is it possible to make America healthy again? Yes, it is definitely possible to dramatically improve the health of hundreds of millions of people. Let's listen to the next part.
Because there are chemicals and ingredients in our food that are illegal in other countries because they've been shown to be toxic. There's pesticides and herbicides, and there's a lot of shit that's been sprayed on our food that really is unnecessary. And there's a lot of health consequences that people are suffering from a lot of these things.
I brought this chart for you.
Fear not, we are going to be looking at Mr. Trump's chart. But before we do that, Joe Rogan's talking about all these artificial chemicals that are included in food. And I think this is a huge problem that could be so easily addressed. Now, it just so happens, to the limits of my understanding anyway, that the things that are good for the individual are also good for the planet, also good for the whole environment. So to promote healthy soils is good for the ecosystems, and to promote healthy soils means we promote healthy foods. Adding lots of artificial fertilizers and artificial pesticides and herbicides, or herbicides as you might say in the States, we call them herbs. Adding all these things is just adding extra chemicals, and it's bad for the environment as well. So we have this irony that a lot of what we're doing now is really bad for the environment, really bad for the individual, but is making money for relatively small amounts of people. So surely we should be doing things that are good for the individual, good for the environment, and the people that are making huge amounts of money out of this can transfer to making money out of healthier, arguably more ethical approaches to food production. Let's think about that chart now. Now, this is the best resolution I could get on this chart, unfortunately, but it's life expectancy versus health expenditure. Now, we have life expectancy going up and down the way here, and we have health expenditure per capita going along there. So this is starting at $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, up to $10,000 per year. And this is life expectancy here, 70, up to 80, up to 84. And these are years here, so that looks about 1979. Year 2000 is probably about there, I think, is the year 2000. And this is 2024, I think. It's fairly up to date anyway. So what we see is that health expenditure has gone up in the United States. This red line here is the United States. It's gone up quite dramatically. But it hasn't been a great increase in life expectancy. Whereas all these other countries mentioned here, yes, they're spending more, but nothing like as much as the United States, with the possible exception of Switzerland there, which is spending just under 7,000. But here we see Japan, Spain, Italy, Israel spending way less, but with way higher life expectancies. So really quite a dramatically impressive chart there. And of course, this can be explained by the fact that it's not just the money you spend on health directly, it's the money you spend on keeping healthy that's the most important thing. So it's much better to prevent illness rather than to treat it. So we need to improve health rather than just treat illness, because the evidence shows here that even with increasing expenditure in the United States just recently, life expectancy is actually going down. So it makes perfect sense. Back to the two gentlemen discussing this.
Beautiful.
Because I had a feeling you'd be asking me. Look
you.
at this chart. These are healthier countries. Look where the United States is. I'm going to send this to RFK Jr. Look at that.
This is, well, something along the... I was actually talking to RFK today, and he told me that more than 70% of young men are ineligible for the military because of their health.
I could see it.
That's crazy.
A lot of it's obesity.
So here's the life expectancy versus health expenditure.
Same chart.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
USA.
Wow,
yeah.
That's pretty good.
Jamie's the best.
He's very good.
He's the best.
But look at that. Look where the USA is.
It's not good. And that's our food. That's our diet. That's sedentary lifestyle. That's our diet. That's the chemicals we ingest. That's what that is.
But RFK is going to be very, I think he's a great.
Well, let's just think about what Joe Rogan is saying there and see if it makes any sense at all. He's saying that poor health and shortened life expectancy could be related to diet. I suppose it could. Both the things that we're eating that we shouldn't be eating and the things that we should be eating that we are not eating. Could it be related to obesity? It probably could actually. Could it be related to lack of exercise and overall lifestyle? Actually, maybe he's got a point there. Of course, he's being completely correct. This is self-obviously true. I don't care what some paid fact checker says. It's self-obviously true. And it doesn't even have to be expensive, because we can actually use foods that are relatively inexpensive in season, foods in season, as they come around, eat those healthy vegetables, healthy grains, healthy animal products, eat them as the seasonal and available, keeping the cost down, streamlining the distribution, involving local food production. All these common sense things could revolutionise the health of continents. So I actually agree with Joe Rogan and President Trump there.
I love the fact that you guys teamed up.
Yeah.
And are you completely committed to have him a part of your administration?
Oh, I am, but...
So who's this RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr. they're talking about? Let's have a quick clip from him and see if we can do a bit of a fact check on Mr. Kennedy as well.
Hi, this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and I'm here outside of the United States Department of Agriculture to tell you about a win-win policy that I'll be pushing in the Trump administration. It's a win for farmers, for consumers, and for the environment. And the purpose is to make America healthy again. America's current ag policy is destroying America's health on every level. It's destroying the economic health of farmers by forcing them to get big or get out. Big corporate farms do just fine, while the small and medium family operators are squeezed to the point of collapse. It also destroys the health of America's soil and water by tilting the playing field in favor of more chemicals, more herbicides, more insecticides, more concentrated monocrops and feedlots. And finally, it destroys the health of consumers. Not only do the chemicals pollute our bodies, the same way that they pollute the soil, but corporate interests have hijacked the USDA's dietary guidelines to make natural, unprocessed foods barely an afterthought. That's one reason why 70% of the American diet now consists of ultra-processed food. We're going to change that. We're going to give farmers an off-ramp from the current system that destroys their health, wrecks the soil, makes Americans sick, and destroys family farms. We're going to rewrite the regulations to give the smaller operators a break. We're going to encourage sustainable, regenerative farming that can build soil and replenish aquifers. We're going to ban the worst agricultural chemicals that are already prohibited in other countries. And we're going to remove conflicts of interest from the USDA dietary panels and commissions. I've seen some of what America's most innovative regenerative farmers are doing today. They can literally green deserts. They rebuild depleted soils. Wells that had been dry for 30 years start flowing again. They heal the land, and some of them make a very good living doing it. But unfortunately, many more have to fight the system in order to do what's right. It doesn't have to be this way. And when Donald Trump gets me inside the building I'm standing outside of right now, it won't be this way anymore. American agriculture will come roaring back, and so will American health.
Well, I must say I agree. I prefer to see Mr. Kennedy inside the Ministry of Agriculture building, in charge, rather than standing outside. Problem with farmers, we need to support small farms, and we need to support the soil, not big agribusiness that reduces it to numbers. Consumers don't need the chemicals. We don't need corporate interests or corporate agents that are supposed to be controlling our health to be hijacked. The environmental aspect is there as well, all fitting in perfectly together. Sustainable regenerative farming is what we need, small scale. And why don't we use the animals to fertilise the soil more? Just to give one example, when you put lots of nitrogen fertilisers into the soil, you produce a gas called nitrous oxide, N2O. Now that's very good because it's a very good analgesic. We use it all the time in hospitals and it's very good for anaesthetics, but it's not good for the environment. It stays in the atmosphere for an average of 114 years after it's been produced by excessive use of chemical nitrogen fertilisers on the soil. And it's a 300 times more powerful greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. So maybe we need to start thinking a little less about carbon dioxide and start thinking more about nitrous oxide. So plenty of things there make perfect sense. Let's get rid of the conflicts of interest. Let's green the deserts. This can be done using the proper techniques to generate composts and soil mixed in with animal wastes. It's like they did in South America for tens of thousands of years with the terra preta that the American Indians used to make before they were wiped out with European diseases. Yes, green deserts, heal the land, and in healing the land, we can heal a lot of people as well. It makes perfect sense to me, scientifically, from my understanding of the medicine and the environmental biology. I'm not a great biologist. I did do a degree in biology, but it just makes, you don't even need a degree in biology. It just makes common sense. This is what we should be doing. Impartial governance, not vested, captured interest.
But listen, there's plenty of good work that could be done if you focus on health. Do you have anyone that is pressuring you to not work with him? Have there been people that are reaching RFK Jr.?
Yes.
Yes, I would imagine. Because financially, he could put a dent.
I would say that, and I think in many ways they've done a good job. In many ways they've done a bad job. But I would say that the Big Pharma wasn't thrilled when they heard that have a relation. I've actually always gotten along very well with him. I've known him a long time. He's a different kind of a guy. He's very smart, great guy. And he's very sincere about this. I mean, he really is, he thinks we spend a fortune on pesticides and all this stuff, and then you end up that chart is a terrible chart, the one previous. It's such a bad chart when you look at where we are compared to other countries that don't spend 10 cents.
Right.
So, and you save a lot of money. But, yeah, I've had some people that aren't exactly thrilled. You can imagine, right?
Sure.
It's a good question, actually.
Well, certainly if
it doesn't affect me.
Some pharmaceutical drugs that have been prescribed that have negative consequences that these people have been profiting off of, and then you have a guy like RFK Jr. who spends an enormous amount of time highlighting those things. You could say how they've been very reluctant to have you support him.
I would say that's an understatement, yes.
Yeah.
Now, that really is a great interview. I'm not quite sure how much I'm allowed to show of it, so I won't show you any more. But, of course, do watch the whole thing for yourself. It's been viewed an incredible number of times. Interesting. Pressure put on Mr. Trump not to work with Mr. Kennedy. Some people are not thrilled about the prospects. You might have your views on who that might be. Watch the interview for yourself. Great interview. The whole thing lasts for about nearly 3 hours, I think, but very interesting there in terms of health. Is it possible to make America healthy again? Yep, massively so. And hopefully other countries can follow in America's wake when this is done. Not only can it be done, there's a massive opportunity here as well to collect data. So a before and after study would be fantastic. So if we can find some honest academics in the States, I'm sure there's many would fit that bill, who could actually collect data before and after these health interventions are made. And we would see this dramatic change in health in the United States. And from that, the world could learn an awful lot of improving health in general. So firstly, we can help the health of hundreds of millions of people. Secondly, we can massively help the health of the whole global ecosystem and the farmlands and and improve animal welfare and crop husbandry and small farms as we go along. We can massively improve health, massively improve the environment. All these things can be done, and hey, we can collect some interesting data as we go. We will watch the situation with interest. But for now, a little food for thought. Thank you for watching.